Yo, yo, yo.
Hello.
Come on. Hi.
Oh,
Hello. Macam.
hey,
Gentlemen.
man.
Hey.
I miss you guys.
So good. Let's wait for people to come in.
Okay.
How's
What's up,
everyone?
Albert?
Hi.
Hi,
Who's coming
C.
in?
Albert.
Hi.
Hi, C. Andrew. Dr. Andrew.
Hey.
Arnold.
Wow. Hey, William, you don't say hi to
Arway.
Soul Pastor, huh?
Hey.
Come on. People are coming in. Let's take a moment. To wait. Oh, Dr. Andrew is here.
Okay. What do you guys have for dinner?
Fantastic.
I had some mash and some meat, man.
Why so angmo are you? Wow.
Just
Is that a racist
whatever's,
statement?
whatever's in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah. Today is
Pastor Keith,
extra sensitive.
what did you have
to all your work.
for dinner?
My mom is in town, man. So she
Wow.
cooks.
Good food.
Yep.
Wow, Elaine Lo, Korean food, huh? Ay,
Coming in.
yeah.
Come on.
Wow, got mic, huh?
Yeah, can you hear clear?
Good.
Wow,
People are coming in.
Wow, hot pot,
Hi.
my God. Okay lah. I'm gonna say I was craving
Renee.
for hot pot, but not mala hot pot lah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Hi everybody, good evening.
Slowly.
Hey. Wow, chili crab, huh?
Wow, Cindy Chua. Celebrating, huh? I wonder what you're celebrating with. Chili crab on a Tuesday night. My gosh.
And, hey, miss you too, Albert Call. Okay.
Good. You know, I'm actually a little bit nervous for tonight. Talking to two of the best communicators I know, and hoping to dig some gold out from the both of you. And I know both of you have already covered this topic at your respective services. So I'm actually very keen to find out more. And today, let's get real, okay? That's what we
Get
promised
real.
to
Okay. Let's go.
bury it
Get real
all.
and raw. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
In any case, you know, we said something sensitive, please. Maaf Zahir dan batin. But I just can we start already? Actually, 65 people is pretty awesome.
Wow.
hey, maybe we wait
Hi.
for another 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes is
Sure.
it's 8:33 right now.
Hi, Jacqueline. Sarah, happy birthday.
How real you want, Zara?
Wow. How real first,
Yeah.
We'll see later.
It depends on
Come
the
on.
questions you ask, actually, Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, we'll appreciate some questions as well. That'd be great.
Yeah. But
See that.
yeah. Okay. So we wait for another 2 more minutes for people to join in, and then Pastor Keith will set the
Yes.
stage.
You know, right? In the history of collective, two of you has been always the moderator, facilitator, interviewer all these years in all the conferences. Suddenly, I go and interview the both of you. Man, what am I asking?
Okay lah,
Good. I know it's coming in
Yes.
74.
Yes, Arnold.
That's
we said
awesome.
questions with an S.
Keep it
plural
coming in.
Questions. Yeah.
Careful, Arnold.
So,
Arnold, ask me
coming.
questions.
You know, tonight, welcome everybody to our Tuesday night live. You know,
Hey.
so what's the title again? Don't mean to be racist, but come on, guys, but
Don't
what's
mean
the
to
but
be
for?
racist, but I guess
But.
we'll find out tonight.
But what's the but for? You'll find out very, very soon. Is that a hat, DK? That's a cap or a hat?
Yeah. Cap.
Okay, shall we start?
All right, let's do this.
Let's go.
Let's do this. Come on, help us, Jesus. Amen.
Man.
I want to share a little bit first before we start. I want all the listeners to know what we are dealing here. It's real issues. Growing up in Malaysia, you know, today the context will be very much our country and our church. So I know this has a lot has happened after what happened to George Floyd in America, but we are not going to talk about that. But we're going to talk about our home, our own backyard. And today, as these two gentlemen is here, we have promised each other that we're going to be as real as possible, and we're going to bear it all. And I hope after tonight, all of us will come to new awareness of how these things is, how these issues are actually much closer to ourselves, our home, our heart than ever before. Is that okay? So, without further ado, come on, guys. I want to go straight to the point. Kason, have you been racist?
Are you going to introduce us first, Pastor Keith?
Oh yeah. Yes. Sorry. You see.
Yeah, guys, this is real.
Okay.
This is real.
How real, man.
Come on. Okay, Angie.
He's just too excited. Okay,
Yes.
can we like rewind? All right, rewind. So Pastor Keith,
Take two. People are laughing. Okay, here I have with us the production creative director of Collective Central, Kason Lim, our sharpest mind, critical thinker, head of creative for Collective. And we have here the senior leader of Seoul, Alostar, Seoul, Malaysia, Pastor Daniel Quillen. Thank you so much, both of you. You know, we are tuning into soul food as well. Fantastic. Okay, so what got me started is that I know that Kason, you have covered this in Bangsa, and recently, DK, you also covered a podcast on Wui Orang India. So I was listening to them, and I thought that really this is so close to home, and we could have taken this for granted. So tonight, let's deal with this real issue. And Kason, can I ask you the question one more time? Take two.
Oh my gosh.
Have you been racist?
Yes, for sure. Yes, of course. I think when we say a word like a race, like racist, for example, I think we have a general idea of what it is, but I think it also differs from people to people. Because to some people, they may think, hey, that was not racist, what? I was joking only, that kind of thing. But looking over the years, definitely I have been. I grew up in a school that is a Sekolah Kebangsaan, which we have a very mixed bunch of kids. Is it all boys school? It's an all boys school. La Salle Klang, shout out right now to La Salle.
Same.
And it's a very multiracial school. Malays, Chinese, Indian, even a few. In those times, I don't know about now, but you will call them the lion as well. I don't know if that's still the term that is used today. I grew up in that kind of situation, and I have friends who are Indians actually, and Malays as well. And some of my closest friends growing up in high school were also from different races also. But I do remember there are times where I have been racist, where I excluded people simply because of a certain way they look, the way they talk. And I think DK, we've had this conversation before as well, like even certain smells or certain scents that they have because of the culture. And it's very real. It's very real. We not only look different, we actually smell different as well. And I admit, I have been like, calling, hey, you smelly, are you smelly? Yeah. I've done all those things as well growing up. So yes, I have been for sure.
Man, look at how we have started right at the beginning, man. Right at the beginning.
Yeah. Yes.
We're going real fast and furious into the real topic. DK, how about you? I don't want to assume. Have you been racist?
Yeah, of course. I mean, definitely. Growing up in a mixed cultured school as well. I think like in my podcast I mentioned that because I know the Chinese language, so I use that to my advantage to feel belong to a certain clique or a certain group.
你会讲华语吗？
可以。
好过 Kason Lim 吗？
一点点，
好过很多啊。
Okay, go on.
So because of how I see my Chinese friends react to my Indian friends, and because they are the minority, so I want to be with the majority. So because of that, I use my language to their advantage, and I make fun of them. I see lo, 我做你看咯，我做派驚啦。So Cindy asked.
哇，你Hokkien話會派啊？
即係講Hokkien，講阿母話，係講華南話，everything 咯，爆吉了。
Yeah, so basically that's that. Yeah, and in a school setting, you use it for your benefit, and then you joke and you laugh. Yeah, so I have been racist.
Yeah.
Definitely.
what are some of the typical stereotype that we get here when we are in Kebangsaan? I know if your maths is not good, you are not considered a Chinese, something like that. Like, how can you be a Chinese and mathematics so chao? That's one of the things that I hear. And then if you want to go for a debate, you want to know how to talk, is that hey, if you choose Indian, they really can talk. And that's the situation for me, at least growing up. And thanks for being honest, both of you. I myself have been pretty racist growing up as well. I think in both ways, my complexion, the way that I grew up, I was out playing football a lot, and I'm much darker than the rest of my Chinese friend. So one of the things I told the both of you is that every holiday I will get a chance to work part-time during year end. And in JB, I grew up in JB. I work for the store and Ocean. Have you heard of Ocean? Ocean.
Oh man.
Or the store.
I've actually been to that store in JB, the store.
Yeah. So working part-time as a promoter, I remember working at the children's department. And there will be a lot of parents that bring their kids to shop, especially those days during Christmas or nearing Chinese New Year. They need a lot of part-timers. So because of my complexion, most of them would think that I'm not Chinese. So there are a few occasions actually. Someone will say this in Mandarin in front of me while I was a promoter. He said, 你看啊，你不要读书，有一天长大你就像这个狗狗这样。So it's right to my face. Kason, just let me explain. The lady said, if you still don't study, you will end up like this guy working at a young age. So I think I am imagining if I don't understand. I think that's on the other side, how we are viewing other races. And I felt it. I really felt it, that how we look down on people sometimes. So today, we are going into this topic very real. What do you think are some of the problems and situations or issues actually that is really close to home? Maybe start from Kason. What are some of the things that you have observed, and what are some of the things that it's real, it's happening in our community?
If I can just actually tai chi it to DK, because actually today's context is really talking about, I mean, we can't cover the whole world, okay? So so like what you said, whatever happened in the US, the racism, the riots right now and all, and I think we ask ourselves, are we jumping on the bandwagon? And the answer is actually no, because we do have similar issues ingrained as well in us, which of course has not led to that kind of situation yet, hopefully never. But I think we do experience it, we do taste it. And being of a certain skin color, being of a certain kind of background, there are some things that I think I will never experience because of the community that I'm living in. And just if I can just reference the podcast that Pastor Daniel recorded with his sister. So some of the stories there really touched me. And I think they're just some things that I can never relate to. Whether I as hard as I try, I will never understand. So we're going to be talking a lot about the context of our own church today, but maybe just in the context of what does it feel like growing up as well in our Malaysian community, in your context, being of a certain skin color, certain race. DK, if you don't mind just sharing with us some of the things you shared in your podcast, or maybe even something else. Experience of growing up. Yeah.
As Pastor Keith was just sharing about his the store work incident, I think before the MCO, I was having dinner at a hawker center, and it's a common thing that I wouldn't say common. Okay, sorry. I mean, I grew up used to it. So again, it happened. I think a little boy was misbehaving. He's not having his dinner. So yeah, I was just next table. The mom said, the Indian man will catch you. So I actually replied her. I'm like, so 你要我做他现在? I told her, you want me to catch him now? And the lady just went to a full shock, So yeah, that's one incident that is pretty common. And I think earlier we talked about some of the things that that would really hit close to home. And I think this is where we get really real. I think my first time coming to KL, from Alustar, I left about 11 years ago. And, looking for a church to feel belong in the community. And of course, I've always loved music and I want to be a part of the worship team. So joining the worship team and the audition and all. And I remember that day, I just came right after college. So, well, my body is not in the tip-top condition as it would, but got to go for auditions. So I was there. And then one of the person, where I was also, because I want to feel belong, so this person was, I think, didn't want to offend, but at the same time want to be a friend, made a remark by saying that, yo, why you so smelly one? All these Indian people very smelly, yeah. And this is happening in church. And so during that time, I didn't know how to answer because I really want to feel belong. I really, really want to feel belong. So I was like, Indian people smelly lah. Sorry, I expired very fast, kind of thing. And then I just, laugh it off. And I think another incident where really hit close to home, which time to time again, for me, especially with all the things that are happening, and the reason for the podcast is because I want to start the awareness for myself. Like, I want to recognize that this is wrong. And one of the things that I kind of bear throughout is when we go out lunch together, with a couple of us from church, and it's time to split the bill, and so let's say I offer myself to split the bill, and then it's slower than usual. And the first comment will be like, I see, Indian people count money very slow, I'll just keep this offense deep within and just brush it off. But again, during that process, I was also pretty much, I used the word ashamed, and I was like, this part of me, why so many people don't like the Indian part or the Indian society. So I always try to brush it off, try to just push it aside. But again, it's awareness, and through awareness, we begin to realize that no, this is wrong. This is wrong, and it has to stop. Yeah. So that's basically.
I think hearing from you, one of the things that I can hear is that yes, living in this multiracial, multicultural country, one of the things that we often encounter, or actually we pull it through like it's just a joke, it's just a joke. But sometimes I have been in pastoral ministry for many years. Actually, a lot of these jokes are hidden deep inside some of my counseling, and it took a long time to dig it out. Actually, it matters, and actually words that are said according to the Bible, we got to pay an account to every words that we say. Am I right or not? So because you were new, you just came from Alustar, you want to feel belong, you want to feel accepted. That's the primary need. And because of that, you would just swallow it, you telan it, and just treat it as a joke. But I think as a church, if we say that we should love everybody the same, these are some of the things tonight, if you are listening, these are some of the things that we should register as well to make sure we don't commit this same mistake. Because sometimes it's very hard, right, DK? And when you mind, actually in a church context, people will actually say, hey, why you so petty lah? 怎么这样小气? So you can't win, right? You can't win. And in our conversation, you actually said that sometimes it is hard for you to even draw the line between racism and developing resilience. Am I right or not? So when do we consider developing resilience? When do we consider this is actually outright wrong, that we shouldn't marginalize anyone or make joke of anyone like that? Kason, any thoughts?
Kason.
Okay, sorry. Hey, DK, go ahead. Sorry, DK,
no, DK, go ahead. You're going to say something.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I think as I begin to think more about it, it's really a two-way thing, because the person who say it and the person who hear it, I think the person who hear it, and if they really feel offended, they should really talk about it and not just keep it in, And I think this is where you begin, and this is where a healthy community starts and begin, because building resilience is really, at the end of the day, I think a lot about it, like, is it okay to bully someone? Is it okay to be sarcastic? Is it okay to be cynical, then I get stronger. That's not where we want to head to as well. So I think really, if you take offense, learn to talk about it. And if you are the other person that is involved in that conversation, I think it's good to ask, like, hey, oh, really this offend you? Why? And I think from there, that awareness would really help us to understand the difference between really building resilience and from there tolerating something that is just unnecessary and outright wrong. Yeah, that's just for me. How about you?
Okay,
Jason?
okay.
So this whole building resilience thing, of course, we all want to build resilience, and you know, they say like, you know, what doesn't kill us make us stronger. That is true most of the time. So there's this story about one of my goddaughters. So she is of a mixed marriage as well, Chinese and Indonesian. So skin also be on the darker side, and her surname is Indonesian. So she went to a Chinese school, and every day she just got bullied. Every day she just got bullied, and based on her skin color as well as her surname. And all the kids made her feel like she never belongs at all. And they just gave her a really, really rough time. And this talking about standard 1, okay? Just going to standard 1. And she will come home every day crying, every single day crying. And her mom is like, you know what should I do? I don't know. Maybe on one hand, you know, she wants to teach her resilience and being strong. And on the other hand, can you imagine if it's your child going through that every single day?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if it was Isla going through that every single day? And if it was Katie or Kira, Pastor Keith. So on one hand, I do believe that yes, whatever hardships in life, whatever form they come in, definitely you want to be stronger and build resilience. But I think that is really not for the outside people to say. That is for her to say. And that is for her parents to say. Like, you know what? It's going to make you stronger. You know what? I got to be stronger. Because if someone on the outside say this, right? Yeah, what if it's really your daughter every day coming home crying? And to what extent build resilience? Take, for example, I know it's a bit different, but let me just try to draw an analogy here. If someone is in poverty and living in really bad conditions, in poverty, homeless, do we say, hey, you know what, build resilience, you know, this will build resilience? We do, yes, it does, but we also want to get the person out of the situation, right?
Yeah.
We don't want that person to remain in the situation. So the same thing as well. So yes, it does build resilience, but why do I want you to be in that situation? Of course, I would try to change it. I would try to do something about it. Just to say, you know what, just suck it up, you know, build resilience. I don't think that's really how it should go. And really, if it was your child, if it was your parent, if it was someone close to you, how would you feel, really? Yeah. So that's one way I really look at it. It's so easy to say on the outside, build resilience, but when it happens to someone close to you or something close to home, I think it's really quite a different story altogether.
Yeah. I think because we have been taught, like, I mean, I know, like, Jason, you are not from a Chinese school background, but I'm sure you are familiar with the whole 不要小气, you know, don't be 小气, that kind of thing. And I think we have been educated wrongly about being 小气. You know, I think it's a good statement. Yes, we don't want to just small issues and all, and then you fuss up a whole thing. Yeah, that's correct. It's true. But I think we are teaching and educating a person to be 小气 in the wrong way. You know, and so because of that, we just sidetrack and, hey, Indian, how are you? You know, and then like, hey, bro, don't say that lah. Wow, what you said like that? Come on lah, you so what man? And then we go into this whole unnatural, and you know, so if reflect back on me, if I want to feel belong in a community, so it's either I thick skin, like one of the person say thick skin, okay, bear through it, or I'm sorry, you know.
Can we take a question from Albert Coe? Will confrontation turn into bitterness, argument instead of developing resistance? Can I just say that even if you don't confront, what makes you think it won't turn into bitterness?
That's right.
I think sorry, go ahead, Keith.
I want to say that relationship that has meaning or has depth must be able to go through difficult conversations like that actually it matters. If it hurts, you got to say it out. Otherwise, that means there's still a lack of trust. There's a lack of openness in a relationship. I still feel.
Yeah, and can I just put it out that it does really again, I'm not trying to put too much disclaimers or cop out, but it really is quite a sticky issue or sensitive issue that really there's no right or wrong, black or white, and a lot of times it's a matter of degree. Okay, say you get say your kid goes to school and gets taunted, gets bullied, and after one day you take your kid out. Okay, maybe that one a bit too fast lah. After 1 week you take your kid out of school, maybe okay, but after 3 months. If that happens every day, so I think sometimes we got to look at it not so much black or white, right or wrong, but the degree of how it happens, and especially in today's day and age, where there are kids, who are taunted and bullied to death. Kids take their own life, and this is not just racism, but even cyberbullying and all. Do we want to come to a point where oh man, it's actually too late? Someone took his or her own life because of the bullying. What kind of resilience do we want to build then? There's no more resilience to build. The person is gone.
Yep.
I want to.
Yeah.
Continue. Sorry, Kazen.
No. So I'm not saying I have an answer. I'm not saying that okay, if after 1 month this happens, then we gotta do something about it. I don't know, but I'm just saying that it's not too hard and fast. Totally cut out. Say yes. Do this, go ahead to build resilience. And if we want to go through examples of people who have come out strong, yeah, there are. But if you want to go through examples of people who have come out all the worst, there are also examples. So I think it's more important to decide based on principles and that, rather than say, all these people, they went through hardship, they came out stronger. Not everybody can turn out that way. And those are the only success stories we hear. But what about the failures that we never hear about?
Yeah, that's where I want to get to
totally
actually
agree.
failures, because just preparing for tonight, sometimes how we watch movies and the underdog always win, and sometimes the underdog character could be a minority, and it could be a black person, trying to hustle their way, work up, and then finally one day he or she is successful. I think a lot of people have that idea that's what will happen to the minority sometimes, but actually, like what Kason say, 2 months, 3 months in, what happens if that person fails, and what happens if that person cannot take it anymore, and what's next? So we don't talk about those actively, and I think that's very important.
So I just want to add in a little bit. When you talk about your friend, that the child was being racist. I think as parents, I want to share from this perspective. It is very important that we know the need of a child, or actually the need for all of us is to feel loved, to feel accepted, especially in a community. And we call ourselves a church because we are built by the basis of loving each other. And a lot of times I realize, I come to this awareness that loving one another, it's really important, but developing resilience, like Kason has said, is not for the church to say to you like that, I do this to you because I want to build a resilience. Our main calling, our main role is still to accept and to love. And I can see from your example of coming to the worship team, or even growing up, as I said, my skin color. I don't know whether you all would think about it at all or not. I would have often question if I am maybe part of this family because I am darker than my siblings as well. So I think that in the essence is the core of racism also, that like, do people actually feel belong and accepted unconditionally? I don't think this is just towards a certain races, but as human being, I think when we become the majority in a community, we just got to be very watchful as Christians, especially. Do we actually make people feel loved or welcome? And many of the things that we are discussing and talking about, I feel at the core of it, this racism issue, yes, people can be treated unfairly or unequally, but at the core of it, as Christians, I think some people felt less loved, less accepted, less favored, less look up to in many situations, and I think we really have to be a lot more aware of how we are behaving. Thanks for sharing. Let's take a lighter note. Is that okay? turn a little bit. I just want to ask this question. I just want to ask this question. So, DK, if people call you matcha, do you mind?
I don't mind.
Sure, Kason.
If people call you bang come, bang, you mind or not, Jason?
I won't even turn my head.
Okay, let's hear from DK. I don't know that like after tonight, I have to think through what are some of the things that I've been doing that I assume it is okay to maybe strike your ego a little bit that wow, you surely can drink lah, or wow, you surely can talk lah, or hey macha.
That's what people always think. I think for me personally, it's really the relationship. I think first and foremost, matcha in the Indian language, in the Tamil language, it means like brother-in-law. I think
Brother-in-law. Yes, brother-in-law.
So we take it out of context and call another fellow, yo, matcha, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think again, it's relationship. First and foremost, it's not like a bad word or a degrading kind of word. So again, if you have a relationship, you call me a matcha, I'm really fine. But if I knock your car and then you're like, "Oi, matcha," then I think the connotation is different. And so one of the things that my dad actually he dislikes is people calling not him but generally Indian people kelingan.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So or kelinga. Hokkien will say kelinga or kelingan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's so embedded in our culture, right? That if you ask what is the right way to call an Indian, so in Cantonese, what do you call an Indian? Honestly, I don't know. You know, and or kelinga, if you are so used to it.
Yeah.
And I think it's really, of course, again, that's the culture side. But yeah, if someone calls matcha, I'm really fine one, no problem.
That's good. At least I know. Good. What are some of the things that you think we should be watchful, DK? Especially in church.
I think if we say that we are inclusive in our culture, then we should really be mindful of our action and our steps. I mean, of course, I'm also aware that, we just don't want to put an Indian man or woman on stage so to balance everything out. I mean, we are not going to the extreme of doing that. But I think little steps of really becoming aware in our conversations. Like, how sometimes, I'm guilty of it. Like if three of us are talking and sometimes we could just go into a whole conversation of either Hokkien or Cantonese, that kind of thing. And maybe we have a minority there, and I wonder for that person sometimes. That person must have feel really left out. I don't feel it because I know the language, so I'm part of it. So, but this person that is there, he's just standing, and then suddenly we are speaking in Cantonese or Hakka or Hokkien, and then this person is completely left out. So I think it's just that cautiousness, that really that you realize that okay, you know what, that person is there, and I will really. I think one of the culture of our church that's really beautiful is how we always say, "Oi, sharp lah, sharp," how we grew up with that, and immediately the language really speaks and tells us like, okay, you know what, let's get focused. We have to really give our part. I think if we could really create that kind of language as well, and not to tolerate when someone does that, then I think we could slowly eradicate that whole thing where, why you so 小气的, we can really eradicate that and come to the point where it's like, why you say like that? And then they will feel like, okay, I shouldn't say that. So I think it's a community thing, and if we can build it together and become part of our language, I think that would be really beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks just going sharing. On. Yeah, thanks, DK. Just riffing off of that, I think like what you shared, it's actually not just it's actually making someone not feeling like they belong. That's pretty much what it is. Of course, there's other layers to racism as well and other kinds of discrimination. But one maybe perhaps a more subtle way of doing it, right? It's actually, we do things that we don't realize and that comes so naturally to us, but we actually make someone feel like an outsider.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I know that part of our collective culture is, opening your circle, everybody belongs. But the question is, once we open the circle and someone steps into that circle, how do we make that person feel in that circle?
Yeah.
So is it just okay to,
Totally
hey, you know
agree.
what, I've already opened my circle. I've already invited you to sit at our table. What more do you want? That sometimes can be the attitude as well. So so I think opening our circle is really the first step, but making someone feel like they really belong. And I know it's again, I don't have the claim on this, the stick on this to say I'm doing it perfectly well, but I have friends who are saying, hey, but you know what? But we are a more Chinese community, so it's so natural for us to speak Chinese. It's not that we are trying to exclude that person. It's not that we're trying to discriminate. It's just so natural to us. And you know what? And I know these people. These are my friends as well. And I know they don't mean harm. I know they don't mean any ill intent at all. But whether we like it or not, whether we mean it or not, it's not creating the kind of environment where someone feels welcome. And it's such a two-way street. On the other hand, the person who does not feel welcome, also, you know what? Sometimes people can be really petty. That's the truth. All of us can be. So maybe the step for that person is, hey guys, English please, I'm around, and you could sort of solve it in a lighthearted manner. It's both ways. It's both ways. But I would say, right, sometimes it's really a bit harder for the minority simply because they are the minority. So there's power in the majority. So I would say if anyone has a responsibility, it's the people who are in the majority to take that initiative, to take that step, to make someone feel more welcome, than to say, hey, why can't you say something? Because sometimes it's really hard. Because can you imagine 10 people speaking and then you're one person and
oh man,
it's easy to say why can't you speak up? But there's so much layers to it. This person may have come from a background where, they tried speaking up in school and then he got it even worse after that. And so all this bias and all these things are on a person. All of us come with our baggages. So people may have that baggage. And so I would think really, so it's just really about how do we make someone feel that they really, really belong. And to say that, you know what, I don't mean harm and I don't mean all this ill intent. I think that's the first step. So that is a more reactive way. But what is the proactive step we are taking? Just take, for example, we can say that, you know what, I am against war. I don't believe in war. I'm against war. But let me ask you, are you pursuing peace or not? You may be against war, but do you actively pursue peace? So we may be against racism, but do we actively pursue inclusivity or not?
Yeah.
So I think that is the next step, to actively pursue it instead of just saying, I don't mean harm, Yeah.
It always begins like that one. It always starts with no harm one. Like, hey, I am not sorry to be offending. I don't mean to offend you. And that has to stop. That has to stop, that I don't mean to offend you. Like, no, I think
don't mean to be racist,
but
we all did it. Just to take some questions. Vincent asked, is there another word for Indian in Hokkien? Coming from Indonesia, where Medanese, they speak Hokkien, right? They actually call intolang. Intolang. Yeah. So that's what I know. Okay, Vincent, just to let you know. Yeah.
Intolang. Okay.
Intolang. I saw Mason commented. Mason just recovered from dengue. Mason, thanks for
welcome back, Mason.
Hello from Cambodia. We have Pin from Cambodia.
Hi Pin. Arno asked a question.
Yes.
So Arno Pua asked. Arno, you just have to ask the hard questions, huh?
Okay.
What can we do if the government is giving privileges to a certain type of race and we can't do anything? Wouldn't it be a norm and culture that is enforced in this entire nation? And yes, I do think that a lot of our issues and problems are really ingrained, not just in us, but in generations before us. Sometimes due to what the structures that are put in place, and it's like systemic racism. It's actually the system that is racist and all. But I would say that this is really a conversation that can really go a long way, and there's just so many areas to cover. And we actually discussed this beforehand, and we decided that, you know what, this is an area that I think it's above our pay grade really to go into. But also we can't really but it's really we can't really cover it tonight. We acknowledge that it does exist, and definitely we need to see change happen. And of course, it's just so many factors involved, political and all this as well. So this is an area that we won't be covering tonight, but it's an important conversation to have. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think
just want to just want to acknowledge that.
There's
DK,
a lot
sorry,
more questions coming in.
Ashley asked a good question. She asked, how hard should we try to educate the older generation, or should we give them a pass due to their upbringing? What do you think,
I think we can all do something. I really feel we can all do something. And it starts from me, and I make it a point, to actually not to say things like that to my children, like the Indian man will catch you or the policeman will catch you. I think these are some of the things that has been passed down. So actually, if this is the older generation, I don't know whether I'm considered the older generation or not, but it registered to me. And actually, I just want to share something very private. Last night, my mom, she's 77. She's staying with me for about a week plus now. Last night, I actually walked to her and I said, do you know when young time I was pretty naughty? She said, yeah lah, you are super naughty. Do you know? I said, you used to scold me very badly. He said, if I don't scold you, how? So I said, do you know the words that you used on me? Then she sheepishly laughed and said, what word? So when I repeated some of the words that she said, my mom actually said sorry to me. My mom actually said, wow. Yeah lah, I also don't know what to say. I said, never mind. Tonight, both of us, before we go to sleep, we pray to God. And we say, really, I had this conversation with her because now I'm reflecting a lot of things that my mom is at this age. There are a lot of things that I want to talk to her about before I regret. So actually, I think they can be educated. So actually, I don't mind to share with you. My mom used to like scold me, you kia, you know, you zasi zaho. You yeah.
Wow.
You know, but hearing from her, she laughed and said, yeah lah, last time you super naughty and all. I actually come to realize that I shouldn't ignore, I should say it out, and she's aware. And she actually said that I always pray to God to forgive me for what I have done in the past. You know, we came from a non-believing family, like all my family. So upon coming to Christ, a lot of things in my family changed. And I would never imagine I would have this conversation with my mom, especially that she is 77. So Ashley, it is possible, but the manner, the attitude which we bring up is very important. It is not to just to show that we know more. It is not just to retaliate, but I say it in a manner where my mom come to realize. Nah, Dato' Raymond also know what I'm saying. You siu kia, wow, a lot. But yep.
But okay, I'm curious about this. So what if, let's say, let's give a setting where we are all young people, and then maybe our parents or whatever, they just talk lah, you know, they will say something that's racist and all. And as a young person, if we are going to talk to them or tell them, it's going to be deemed like disrespectful, like, you know, like, hui gina kia, like, you don't know what you're talking about, you know, adults, we are talking. So maybe if I carry on from Ashley's question, how then do we really approach that? Because this is something that I'm thinking, like, you know, because I think for Ayla, you know, Ayla is mixed. She has a darker skin tone. It's beautiful, but I want her to stand up. I would teach her to stand up if an elder person would be racist, you know. But you know how in our culture, it could be like, why are you so disrespectful one? Father, mother never teach you. You know, that kind of thing. How do we, I don't know, what are your thoughts about that?
Actually, you have a story on this, right, DK? In regards to Ayla and comparisons between Ayla and Carl.
I mean,
can you share the story with us?
I mean, I shared it on my podcast. I mean, basically, one of my mom's friend, she was driving past my mom's house. I was just working out, you know, minding my own business, and she will usually stop by, you know, because she lives at the end of the road, but she always stop by. She was like, you know, hi sister, how are you? That kind of thing. So she saw me. She's like, hey Daniel, wow, your son so handsome so fair so beautiful How come not? How come? Are you the father or not? Wow.
Wow, that's too much lah. Oh my gosh.
Ooh,
Yeah, yeah.
or relatives, that would be like, yo, Ayla girl, why your skin tone so dark one? Not nice lah, not nice. I would
Mm,
really,
mm,
I really would be pissed. I would be like, so I would intentionally like, no, Ayla, you're beautiful, Ayla. Papa love you. I think you're very beautiful. I
yeah.
like your skin color. Yeah, and so, but just recently, I think Ayla had like a moment with Caroline. So you know how kids, they can be just so upfront, and she's innocent. She's only 3 years old.
Mm,
So during the MCO, she's not seeing her classmates, and so Caroline asked her like, "Hey, Ayla, do you miss your friend? Do you miss them? Are you seeing them? Do you remember your friends?" I think remember she said, "Do you remember your friends?" Oh yeah, my friend, this person, and all. And then we came to this friend, this boy. His name is
mm,
Abun or something lah. So some kids, they don't brush their teeth, so it's black in color. So sometimes we were like, "Come on, Ayla girl, be better, brush your teeth and stuff like that." But she just says instantly, "Oh yeah, but my friend Sachita, she is black in color." You know, and the moment Karen laughed, like, "Oh my gosh, she's so funny." But actually, in that moment, after all that has happened, we just took the moment to pause and realize that, okay, you know what, we
mm,
shouldn't laugh at this. We shouldn't laugh at this at all.
yeah,
And like, hey, Ayla girl, yes, she's a darker skin tone, but she's beautiful, right?
mm,
God created us all beautiful. So I think really is the education of it, lah. But yeah, that's
yeah.
just my part.
Yeah, what you meant is like an image of like a Black Panther, is it like a black cheetah?
Yeah.
Yeah, because in my mind, cheetah is orange
Oh no 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 no
and
no not Chita.
spotted.
Her friend's name is Sachita. He's an Indian friend.
Oh,
Oh, okay,
So
okay,
she
okay,
just
okay,
she just
okay.
blurted out like, oh yeah,
So,
Sachita is also black. You know.
ah, okay. In regards to
So
what you asked just now,
mhm.
I don't have a full answer to it, but I really feel as parents, it's very important to raise kids with high self confidence and self worth through how much we actually look at them and love them. Stop comparing. For parents that are listening, we should avoid using the psycho way of comparing your kids to any other kids. And I remember there's a friend that told me her parents actually said that to her. I said, nothing is beautiful about you other than your handwriting. So that's not good. People remember. People remember.
Yeah.
So as parents, I know you love them and you want them to actually work harder. You want them to actually perform, but in a way that you raise it up, it could be hurtful. So it is the same with the church side. Raj asked a question.
Yeah.
Kason, do you want to take this? What do we really mean by inclusiveness? What is our point of reference? Is it based on language, race, faith, community, etc.?
Yes. I think it's really based on all the above. Like our topic tonight is racism and how we actually discriminate and judge someone or exclude someone based on the color of their skin or their background. But I think in the larger scale of things, inclusiveness and discriminating runs bigger than that. It could be your socio-economic background. It could be the language that you speak. It could be your sexual orientation. It could be a lot of things where you come from as well. So again, it's very different. So the example that we brought up just now was actually the issue of language. Again, there's really nothing wrong with speaking the language that you're comfortable with. But it's just the question is, so there's someone right now who does not understand the language. So do we actually consider that person? And do we consider to include that person in? So that's in a matter of language. Or say if we all go out, all of us Christians, collective, man, we're so happy after church. Okay, now got no church gathering. Never mind, after watching online, and we decide, hey, we can go 4-person go out right now. Still can practice social distancing. And 3 of us are Christians, 1 is not. And if all that comes out of our mouth, right, it's just Christian jargon. We talk about our own church friends and all kind of thing. And,
correct.
And I think that would also make someone feel not very included as well in the conversation.
Yeah.
So I know these are very simple illustrations, but I guess you all get the picture of what I mean, because it is really not so straightforward and say, yeah, we should include based on all these factors. But whatever that makes someone a foreigner, whatever that makes someone not included, I think we should try as best as we can to not make that person feel that way. Yeah.
And that's why I
Pastor
love
Keith.
our core value, everyone belongs, open your circle. I mean, that's us,
Yeah.
and that's what we want to achieve, And I think if we really practice it habitually, I think we will really get to a point where everyone will really feel belong,
Yeah.
And I think with what's happening in America and now in Malaysia is really a timely reminder for us, especially in the church, to really step up and to really go above and beyond to recognize this issue.
That's right. That's right.
So, but
I
being
may
a
just-
church. Yeah, sorry, Pastor
Sorry.
Keith, go ahead.
I may just want to answer Raj as well. In Galatians chapter 3, verse 28, it says, there is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor there is male or female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. So I think it is very important that we also see it from the perspective of God. For all that he has done on the cross for us, it is really to reconcile all of us. And the inclusiveness here, it is not just race. There is a slave or free, there's male and female. So actually, I think the challenge is really to make ourselves be more aware of the responsibility that God has given to us, when he tear down all the walls between one human to another, that the commandment is to love your neighbor, not to love your Chinese neighbor or not to love your Indian neighbor, but to love your neighbor. I think we need to take this seriously. We need to live out the creed that's in the Bible, that what will make us reflect Christ the most. And it has been shown in his life and his example that often he would accept people of from the Samaria or from other nations that receive healing from Jesus. So I think we cannot undo what God has done. We need to learn to live it out and be more inclusive.
Yeah.
Sorry, did I cut one of you?
No, actually, I guess your God must have spoke to you, because I wanted to ask you that, Pastor Keith. Like,
Yes.
this whole Christian jargon, right?
Yes.
No, because I really wanted to ask, like, okay, you know what? We've talked so much about our experiences, what we think, and I wanted to actually ask you, so the classic question, what would Jesus do? So
and I answered.
Yeah, and yes, we also discussed before going live, the story of Jesus and the woman at the well, a Samaritan woman.
Yes.
And Jesus actually went to her, and Jesus not only went to her, but he went out of his way to her. So I think the question that really pops out in my mind is, how out of the way are we going to meet someone where they are, and to make someone feel like they belong? And I tell you that it is not easy, because I have been in those situations, that I'm just tired lah. Come on lah. I just want to hang out with my friends. I don't want to think so much. I don't think so much about whether this person feel included or not, whether this person got someone talk to him or her or not, whether are we speaking the language that necessary. I don't want to think. I'm just tired. And if I remember correctly, Jesus was tired as well when he went to the well.
So good.
Yeah.
And
So good.
if Jesus can do that when he was tired, I think that is an example for us to follow. Like, I'm tired. I just did a lot of work. I'm just flat. I'm just beat. Can you just let me be myself or not? Yeah. And if we just look at the pattern of Jesus and how he actually set that model for us, I know I fall far behind, but I also know it's not about a performance thing. It is not about achieving perfection, but just every day in our lives, do we progress a bit or not? And I think that's all that we can try to be for each other. Hey, I think it's important to have close friends in check as well. To in that sense, not just in a manner of whether are you inclusive, but just in your spiritual life in general. Are you progressing a bit to be more like Jesus every day? And
I don't know if you all still remember. In number 8 days, I used to start my sermon with one blonde joke every week. Actually, I received I received a comment. And someone asked me, "What if a blonde is really in the congregation?" Then on, I stopped. I think tonight, guys, we only have 5 more minutes. time passes so fast. I don't know whether
Yeah, I
you
think we
want
can
to
go for another 5-10 minutes. There's a question asked by Edwin Rocketwing. Hey, bro, how you doing, man? DK, would you like to answer that question?
I have a question to ask. I have friends who like to address Indian nationals as Apu
Nene
Nene.
lah.
Yeah, it's degrading. It's definitely degrading.
Yeah, it's degrading.
Apu Nene is if I'm
It's like a
not mistaken,
boogeyman lah, right?
yeah,
It's like
it's
it's just something scary. Yeah, it's just something unpleasant. It's associated to an image where it is just not good lah.
Yeah. So yep, avoid it, man. No A, B, and N as well.
I think for Tabitha, I want to take that question.
Sure.
Tonight, coming into this meeting, I think we have been silent for too long, and I want to sing the Frozen song. Yeah, just kidding. I think everybody is afraid to be the bad guy. Everybody doesn't want to rock the boat, and I think for our future generation, for people to know how God is really colorblind, that all of us are His children, all of us are loved by God equally, and to really make this talk worthwhile, I think all of us must reflect upon ourselves. What can we do after this? It is really to stand up for someone, to stand up for the minority, to stand up for people that has been sidelined. And we have to be a lot more self-reflective ourselves. And I myself, I have confessed right in the beginning of certain ways that I see certain race, and I want to change. And I want to show my children how I have friends from different races. And actually, to be honest, I'm always very proud to tell Kira that my best friend is an Indian. So I just want all of you to know that we all have a responsibility to make this change where we are. Yep. So I think time is almost up.
So,
I just want to ask.
Sarah asked, how would you stand up for someone? I think it's a bit related to Tabby's question. And I think I want to throw this at DK. Hey, DK, let's just say if I was there with you, we are friends, we are tight. And if someone says something racist, what would you like me to do for you?
I would really want you to be on my side and to really voice out as I voice out. You know, I would say, yo, that's not cool, man. And I would really want and hope that you would do the same. Like, yo, come on, man, that's not cool at all. And we cut it there immediately. And that way, when it's two against one, that one will already know then that this is not right at all. So yeah, this is one of the ways that we could really do it. For me, yeah.
You remember people always say it's not the attack or the words of the enemies that kill you, but the silence of your friends, right? So I think as a friend, we should speak up. We should speak up tonight, and whenever we feel, you know, I for once, I have to admit that I like to crack Indian jokes, you know, in very private setting. But my wife has been the one that has been reminding me again and again and said, stop doing all these things. And, you know, I have stopped. I come to the realization and the awareness. So I stopped that.
Again, I think this is not a perfect conversation, but really awareness, you know, to really create and to understand, to be mindful of our words. And I love what you said, Keith.
And I think it's very important what you mentioned, because we sometimes think that what is okay in private, you know, because it's private. And I think that has got to stop as well. I mean, I know those jokes. Yes. We all know those jokes.
We were guilty of it.
It's just like everything else, you know. It's like, let's ask ourselves, in everything else that we do we want to be different people in public and in private? And I think I'd like to think that most of us don't. I know it's hard, but I think this should be in the same vein as well. You know, we don't want to be different people in private and in public as well. So yeah.
And just because we are the majority here, and one day when you are overseas, when I remember when I visited Canada or UK, I know that feeling. I know that feeling of being a minority. I know that feeling of them speaking so fast in their language that I couldn't catch, and I feel totally inferior. and I feel
What did they say
totally
to you again?
out of place.
What did they say to you
Okay,
again?
again.
What did they say to you again? What did they call you again? You remember?
Two Asian, go back lah. No, don't have la lah. Don't have la lah. Don't have la. Sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, and
oh, but the 222 is general lah. Every language is the same one, right? So you can understand lah.
that's true. Yes, guys. Good. So before we close, Kason, any last words? DK, I will ask you as well.
I want to say that the reason why I also talk about this in one of our gatherings, because I have nothing invested in this lah, except that people close to me are experiencing this. I really do not know what it feels like to grow up however other people grew up and face racism. I've not lived enough in a foreign country long enough to experience it myself. So I want to say that I really don't understand. So what really hit me was in one of the recent conversations, one of my friends who is also mixed. So he said, you know what? Yeah, it's the way certain leaders speak to me. It's the way certain people in church say things to me. Of course, I know there's always two sides to the story, but this is his side of the story. And he said this, it's not just about being in church, but it's also the things that I've gone through before I came to church. And that has scarred me. And therefore, it made me afraid to speak up, made me afraid to say anything. And I'm just thinking, this person has come from previous hurts, previous baggages, and instead of making it better, sometimes we made it worse. So these stories like this, who someone whom I consider a friend, and also the story of my goddaughter, it just hits a bit closer to home as well. And your story about your dad, DK, which you guys please go listen to Daniel's podcast. It's called Soul Food. It's available on Spotify. The story about your dad, which we won't elaborate here. It just made me wonder, what if the person was my dad? That my dad was treated this way, and I realized that for these things to change, right, it must be people who are really so-called not invested in it to start speaking up, and to actually, say something about it, and to say, like, I know tonight is not a perfect conversation, but I don't want that to be an excuse anymore. That I don't know how to address this perfectly, therefore I don't address it. So if I make a mistake as a leader, as one of the leaders of this community, if I make a mistake, perhaps I'd rather make a mistake trying to do something rather than not lah.
Yeah,
and I think that's from my side. And I want to say that maybe one of the ways that we can actually go to, I don't know this is the part where we're going to that or not, but this is my last word. I think maybe one of the first steps is actually to listen, to hear out our friends whom you think may be part of a minority that is facing racism or being discriminated, and maybe just first have that conversation with them and hear them out. Hey, what does it feel like to be in our circle that you are of a different race? What does it really feel like? Maybe instead of trying to do something first, the first thing that we can do is maybe we start hearing them first, hearing them out, asking them their side of the story. All right, that's from me.
A lot of people will go and ask Raj after this, what's his story already, Kason? All right, DK, how about you?
I think for me, to also answer Sarah, like how we're reaching out to these minority groups. I think really the word is to educate. I think the platform of the church should really speak up about these things and talk about it constantly, because it's just years and years of culture that has been embedded, and it will take a long time. We know the reality of how a person has been habitually in having bad habits, for instance. So it takes a long while. So that means the church has to be really consistently teaching and to educate and to bring awareness that, hey, you know what, this is wrong. We should do better. These are some of the words. Just like how, I don't know about you guys, but when I was studying in campus, there was always this student director who would teach us, there's some hand gestures, some words that you use, it will be offensive towards our African brothers and sisters. So I think little things like this could educate in our church as well. It will really go a long way, and that way we could really come together as a church and take care of one another. And again, so to prevent people like me who want to feel belong, and then I get so shy or I get so timid and I don't want to talk about it, and so I just go with the flow, but in actual fact I'm just getting hurt again and again and again and again. So yeah, to educate and bring awareness. That's from my side.
It's good. So Kason talk about listening. DK talk about educating. So tonight, I just want to say on behalf of the leadership team, collective, we are serious in taking this on. And if there is any way at all that you think we can improve, or in any way that you think we have not done our part well, we are more than happy to receive your feedback and grow from here. The thing about me is this: sometimes all these things I just want to stay out of it because it's too sticky. But today, when I decide to engage the both of them, I know this is one of the small steps that I can take to change myself first, to actually listen to the both of them. Tonight is a treat. And all of you that are listening here tonight, I just want to encourage all of you. We all can play our parts in bringing this change. I just want to end with 1 Corinthians 12:26. It says that if one part suffers, every part suffers with it. And this is the true essence of the body of Christ. Any of us in our church, we are listening. If one part suffer, all of us should suffer together. But if one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. All right.
Okay.
Well, I think that's all for tonight. It's 9:36 already, guys. I thank you so much, everybody, for participating. I don't know whether we covered all the questions.
We
If not,
we definitely did not. But sorry to cut you, but I just want to say that this is just really this is not the end all conversation for sure. And I think the most
Yeah.
important conversations are the one that happen off screen.
Oh yeah.
And off stage. So those are the
Yes.
important conversations ones. So I think all of us should do our part in this. Yeah.
Mm.
So it's not just
Thanks,
us three of us
Raj.
here on screen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
Yeah. Raj,
Thanks, Raj.
Raj also answered as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
When we see offensive habits, we should correct them. That's why I said take a stand, step up, and speak up.
Important.
Thank you so much. Are we supposed to end it with a word of prayer or something? Is there any announcement, Kason?
You're the pastor. You tell me, man.
You're the host, man.
I have a senior leader here as well. Okay, let's end with a word of prayer. All of you, just stay with me one more minute. Let me pray for your rest tonight. Is that okay? Jesus, we commit this whole issue to you. We want to be real that it's happening. It's happening nearer than ever before. It's been happening. God, we just pray for a new level of awareness that God, you say you love all of us the same. There's neither Jew nor Greek, oh Lord, male nor female, slave nor free. That God, you love all of us the same. In Romans, you say, for whoever that calls unto the name of the Lord, they shall be saved. So God, I just pray and I ask tonight, as we reflect upon ourselves, let there be a real change that is taking place. Continue to bring harmony and unity to all the churches in Malaysia, oh Lord. We thank you, Lord, for every listeners. Grant them good rest tonight in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Pastor Keith and DK. Miss you,
Thank
DK.
so much.
Miss you guys, man.
This weekend, Father's Day. DK, happy Father's Day in advance.
Happy Father's Day, Pastor Keith. And
Kason, I wish you soon. Yeah.
Sure.
Take care.
Okay. All right. Good night, guys.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Good night, guys. Rest well. Bye.